And yeah, today we're going to mix it up a bit. And last few weeks, we've had a phenomenal DeFi day where you get a chance to kind of have a immersive experience to be able to have an idea of what cryptocurrency is, how it can benefit yourself financially. Today, we're going to put Blockchain Wayne on the spot. We figured that he never really gets a chance to really talk about himself because we don't ever put him in that spot. And he doesn't even like being on that spot, to be honest. He just likes to give and be able to support and provide content for everybody in the community. But today we figured, why don't we just go ahead, just ask him some questions? Because I think for the community, everyone wants to get to know what type of education are we going to get? What type of content are we going to get being part of this community? So today we're going to actually interview and actually do what we call an AMA, Ask Me Anything type of deal. And we never told Blockchain Wayne any of the questions. Okay, we're just gonna wing it, and we figured we just want to get to know him. We want the community to get to know him. And of course, right next to me is my partner Edgardo. So Edgardo, say hi to everybody real quick.
Hello, everyone. Well, we're very, very excited to take this time and ask some questions to Blockchain Wayne. It's going to be very, very interesting, Tuan. And remember, if you have a question, please put it on the chat on the end of the Zoom. We're going to be able to ask that question to Blockchain Wayne too.
Awesome stuff. So without any further, I have some questions real quick. And the first question that's on top of my mind is, most people don't know who you are. So why don't you take a few minutes and just introduce yourself real quick?
All right. So I appreciate this. And I'll tell you guys, the reason I went along, they actually called me right before this call to do it in this format. And I tell you why I like this is because you're going to get to hear some of the why behind a lot of it. And we can all learn mechanics of how to do different things, but understanding the why is important. So back to what Tuan's question, Blockchain Wayne, that's just kind of, it's a name I picked up when I started podcasting back in, I think it was 2018, early 2018, I started podcasting, and really it rhymes. So it stuck, but I was also very passionate about cryptocurrency and realized what blockchain was going to do. But as Heather mentioned a little bit in introduction, I've been kind of in a leadership management roles in multiple capacities over the years, leading anything from small teams of a few people to large teams over 500 plus people. And then I've always been passionate about education because I realized that having the right coaches along the way in every facet of life, of business or whatever, it would always made an impact on me. So that's something that I felt was important. So when I really went down that rabbit hole, and after I bought my first purchase of cryptocurrency back in 2016, I went down the rabbit hole and realized how big this was, and was very passionate about how this can change the world for the better. How many good things can come from this, and how this pretty much shifts the power to where we can all have a level playing field versus what we're seeing today with these centralized systems where they're not really tilted in our favor. And so that's when I realized my space, I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer. So my contribution was, it was very hard to learn in the beginning. Clunky. There wasn't a lot of good resources. So I dedicated my time and efforts towards educating people. I've done a lot of one-on-ones, done some group coachings, worked with different coaching like personal development coaching programs, spoken at crypto events and non-crypto events. But it's really just to bring that message wherever we can. I've even consulted over the last couple of years on multiple different projects, helping them bring their product to market, whether anything that's going to drive adoption is what I focus on. So, and that's even what I do today. There's several projects where I'm weekly helping them with their marketing, with their content, with just getting out to the masses. And with DEFINITY FI, when Tuan reached out to me, it was a perfect opportunity to bring that even further because we can reach more people. I've always said that when we can get the community behind crypto, then we're going to really see mass adoption. Mass adoption is what we all want. We want this technology to take effect to where it can be utilized anywhere and everywhere. And that's what I'm passionate about. So when you hear me talk, everything is around educating people, teaching people, having them do it, but then also keeping it simple to where you can understand. Because if I start telling you how encryption on Bitcoin works, it doesn't matter to most people. You just need to know that it works, but you want to know how to operate. You don't need to know how the engine works. You just need to know how to drive the vehicle. And that's kind of what I'm passionate about. So anything to do with education, that's really my passion, because that's when you can see the light bulbs start to come on.
So you started bringing us a couple of things here real quick. You started talking about you've you started some projects, and you've also, I know that you and I, we've talked before, you've either consulted, you actually work with companies in terms of their education platform. Is it possible that you can actually throw some projects that you worked with in the past, or you still currently are working with, whether it's your own personal projects or the projects that are either big names that are out there that maybe some people have heard of before? Just kind of curious on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some I can talk about, some that I'm kind of sworn to secrecy on.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, News Crypto, a company called FIO is one that I'm actively working with right now. FIO makes it easy to send and receive crypto, and so that's a big project that I've been helping them on. But there's multiple other ones. There's one called Concierge Club. There's different training academies that I've helped consult in that are just building basics education, because any crypto company right now needs to, there's only so many people already in crypto. At some point, if they want people to use their products, they have to teach them a little bit about crypto as well. So that's where my consultings come in. So a lot on the backside as well, with other projects. I've worked with a little bit behind the scenes with Aurochs and Chain Games, and a few others you're going to hear about, because those are up and coming in the space, whether it be DeFi or play to earn. But those are some of the bigger ones.
That's awesome that you're saying all that. A few months ago, I actually went to your event that you co-founded with a few partners, the Miami Crypto Experience. And I thought this was a phenomenal event. And actually, unfortunately, I only went to your second one. There was a first one that was just, I heard it was just off the charts as well. Tell us a little bit about why did you start that event? What's so unique about it, and what's your biggest drive behind that event?
Yeah, so I'll skip some of the story where a couple of our business partners are already in the fight event industry, so they already had the connections to throw events. And we've been trying to teach these guys about crypto for a long time, and they were finally catching on. Okay, we need to do something. Let's do an event. And my agreement to help with that was, it can't be like any other conference, which is, you notice we never call ourselves a conference, because a conference, you go and not to knock conferences, you hear people speak from stage. Some people are paying to get up there and pitch, but there's nothing wrong with that either. But what kind of value are the attendees getting? There's always value, but most of the value I would get from attending those types of events was the people I would meet in the hallways, between the meetings, after the meetings. And that was what I saw. So I wanted to give people options. So we built it around education. We had a main stage with keynote speakers, just like you'd see at other events, but we also focused on multiple other rooms where people could come and get workshops about different topics. And we had an agenda lined out, and most workshop educators were teaching their workshop at least twice. So people had a chance to choose over the period of a few days. They can choose which topics they wanted to go learn about, and they could go in and listen and learn about those topics. So that was the main reason behind it. These guys wanted to have an event. We were kind of at the point where things were opening back up after COVID, and the crypto world hadn't had an event in over a year and a half, like a physical in-person event. And many of us have attended online conferences and seminars and events, and they're great and all. It gives access to everybody, but it's not the same as being there in person. So that's how we founded it. We were trying to come up with a name for it, and that's when I refused to let anybody on our team call it a conference. Anybody else, you can call it a conference. That's fine, because that's what you're used to. But it's an experience. You can actually go and experience. In one of the workshops I taught, I didn't just teach people about some basic fundamentals of crypto. I had them download the wallet, set up the wallet in there, and everybody had set up the wallet during that class. I had my sponsor, which was FIO, send everybody, tokens immediately in the class. So they learned how to set up a wallet. They learned how to get their address set up so they could receive to that wallet, and how, cool. How to send a request. So that's the premise behind the Miami Crypto Experience, and any events that I'm involved in, where it's got to have some educational content. I'm not just going to get up there and pitch you 20 minutes about one product or how great my product is. I want people to learn something that they can leave with.
Yeah, I've been to several different blockchain events, and one of the things I've noticed across the board after going to a few of them, it's basically an event where they bring all these different developers and market makers there, and they pitch their project. That's pretty much it. You really don't get any education. You don't get any information. Well, you don't feel like you're leveling up, right? You don't feel like you feel like they're constantly selling you on something, but you're not really getting anything out of it except you're learning about these new projects. And I think that was one thing I noticed. It was very evident for me when I went to your event, is that you actually had some amazing talent that were educators that were really teaching different workshops. And speaking about that, tell us a little bit about the talent that you surround yourself with, the educators, because I've met a few of them, and I absolutely love the talent that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, some are just people we've met over time that have eventually participated in our events and in other events. But it's just finding people that are passionate about teaching as well. So we've got on our team right now, we've got Chelsea, who's been, her and I got into crypto at the same time. So we actually learned from each other on the go, but she's become a phenomenal trader and a phenomenal, I don't want to say expert. So we're all hesitant to call ourselves experts because, the true definition expert needs about 10,000 hours of study, but she's very well versed in the NFT space and how to navigate that space. So it's a valuable addition to the team. We've got Elmer and we've got a few others in different countries that just all of them have created content in the past. We've made videos. We've done things for different projects just to kind of help move the space forward. And that's how I aligned. I looked at the people that were focusing on making things simple for your everyday user. And that's what we surrounded ourselves with. And, it's been fun because along the way, there's, I don't like to name drop a lot of celebrities or anything like that, but along the way, more and more celebrities and athletes and musicians, they're becoming more, more interested in learning about crypto. And we've helped a lot of those on the way. I've helped Hall of Fame athletes. I've helped musicians. We've taught different people. Our event last year, the one you missed in March, we had multiple, we had Rick Ross perform, but we also had several different world famous music producers that stuck around for the whole event that just wanted to learn about crypto. And all that does is that helps give validity to when people that follow these celebrities and musicians and everybody else, they see that, oh, they're looking into crypto. Maybe those people that were skeptical before will drop their guard and actually take the time to learn it. So that's, but along the way, like I said, we've picked up educators too, people that kind of align with my mission of helping to move the space forward. And that's kind of how we built the education team.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I just, you and I, we talked a few weeks back. I bought myself, Gala Music Notes. For those of you guys don't know what that is it's basically, I don't want to get too advanced, but basically nodes actually help validate transactions. And it's a great, if you are a node holder, then you have the opportunity to be able to earn a reward for actually operating them. Getting very deep into that, but Blockchain Wayne and I, we were chatting a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't gotten it yet." I'm like, "I just bought one or two or whatever." And then he's like, "Yeah, I just decided to buy one too." So we're all just like having fun, learning from each other. But my whole point was that I got involved in that because, like you said, celebrities started getting involved into it. Snoop Doggy Dogg actually launched his set of NFTs on the Gala network, and I thought, man, that's really a big deal. And as a matter of fact, I also noticed that he also started talking about the metaverse at the Super Bowl, so It was almost all like coincidental in a way. It's like he almost was a smart businessman. He knew he was going to be on stage. He actually had his whole NFT things all set up, and he had his own partnerships with different projects within the blockchain. I just thought it was very, very impressive. I have this much more respect for Snoop Dogg as an entrepreneur. And speaking about that, at the Miami crypto experience, that particular event, what type of celebrities have either names that have gone to the event, or are actually people that are potentially collaborating with you? I don't know if those are things that you could say or not, but love to hear about that as well.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, our first event we had, so Rick Ross had helped paint a card that we then turned into an NFT. And that process was leading up to the event. So he actually showed up, performed a few songs, and some other people in the music industry, especially like Cool and Dre, they literally hung out the whole event, want to learn about crypto. And from there, they introduced us to multiple other musicians. I can't name some of them because we're working on some partnerships right now that'll be announced soon, but big name musicians, especially in the Miami area, not just big in Miami, but globally, that are, one way or another looking to get involved in the cryptocurrency space, participating in the events, whether it's hanging out and learning or that. And from that, there's also been from those connections, it's been multiple different athletes that we've been able to just help them the basics to get started in crypto as well. because everybody's realizing that technology is shifting, the world is shifting, and they don't want to be left behind from that shift. Many of us were, even if you weren't old enough to participate, you're old enough to remember what happened when technology shifted to online and to the internet. And, we saw what happened when people adopted early. And that's what people are looking to do now, because they realize that the best way to be smart in business is to get ahead of where the world's going. Right. I forgot what it was, one of the big name gurus. What he used to say, figure out where the world's going and get there first.
Mark Twain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it was Twain. Okay. I was thinking I probably heard it from one of the gurus. That's what it was. But yeah, figure out where the world's going and get there first. And that's where you see it just makes sense. We live in a digital world. We're already using somewhat of a digital currency when we pay online or swipe with a credit card. There's just better systems that allow us to operate more freely.
Absolutely. So, man, very, very powerful, man. And so my thing is this, like, so you've definitely and a lot of people know, when I ever get a chance to introduce you, I always say the same thing. My biggest thing was, I thought you were kind of cuckoo in the very beginning. You start talking about this cryptography, and then you start talking about like how there's inflation going on. Like, this guy is really too political, but it wasn't the politics that you cared about. What you saw that there was a shift in how people viewed money, or actually how money is being interacted into the world. Yeah. And you saw that. And after a few years, I started realizing that you got really passionate about educating people. So you went on your journey, as I can see. You went and started your own podcast. You started your own Miami crypto experience, and now it's not just Miami. Now it's starting to blossom all over the place. You got celebrities starting to support it and be part of it, and big names have already spoken at the event. And you have your own educational modules that you built along the way. But yet, you and I and Edgardo, we had conversations in between, and you said, we told you, what are your thoughts about DEFINITY FI? And you're like, I love it. Actually, as a matter of fact, when I first started explaining it to you, there wasn't really a hesitation. You thought about it for a second, but I think it was within just a week, you're like, okay, look, I'm on board. Why DEFINITY? And what is it, all the stuff that you're talking about right now, how do you feel all the years of your experience in learning about crypto, DeFi, NFTs, play to earn games, and then launching these events and bringing educators and having all these talent and celebrities that you've been able to connect with? How do you see that being able to drive into the DEFINITY FI community? That's my big thing I'm thinking about right now. Like, how can all of us benefit from all your experience?
Well, let me tell you what I saw, and I kind of saw it was like the missing link, because I've said, I mentioned that I've helped build educational programs in the past and content. That's one thing I love. And the world's constantly, the space is constantly changing. So content's constantly updating, just like what you introduced me to nodes. Gala nodes, music nodes. That was something I realized we missed out on another big node that was growing, and this was something to get in on. But what was been missing the whole time is really a massive community, because we can put out content, but that's like putting a store up with not much traffic in front of it. I put up a physical storefront and there's no traffic. Nobody's really driving in front of it. Nobody knows where it is. I've seen good businesses come and go. And I've seen with crypto, it's kind of similar, but it's in a digital space, where I've seen really good projects that don't really get any traction because there's no community behind it. And, it's a bunch of developers trying to push it. There's no community. And this gives us the ability, because I love this business model, because it's truly word of mouth. You don't have to share it, but if you do, how many people are saying they want to learn about crypto right now? I get multiple calls a day. They're trying to figure out, because they're starting to hear it in mainstream media, or they're starting to hear like this inflation thing you mentioned about. Look, I've been talking about inflation before anybody. 2017, 2018, you heard me talking about inflation coming, and now we're seeing what's happening with that. And it's funny, because then now the news media is putting out articles like, economists are baffled, no one saw inflation coming. I was like, anybody could have saw that. But it's people are starting to lower their walls, their defenses about what is crypto. And okay, now it's not, is it a scam or not, but what do I need to learn to protect myself and get in the right way? And DEFINITY FI is just that perfect vehicle to share it with the world, because I've always felt the best marketing is person to person, right? Is a company going to spend millions of dollars for a 30-second ad on a Super Bowl, or is a company going to reward the people that are out there sharing, spreading the word, person to person? Because you can see a commercial all day for something, but if somebody you know and trust, and that's a friend of yours, says, "Hey, I've got this," they say, "Where can I learn crypto? Look, we got this great program. This is how you can get started." It's just natural. It's not even selling. And that's the business model I love. And that's what goes viral. What goes viral is when people are talking about it. And that's kind of where we are with this. It's the perfect time to roll this out. There's so much coming. And then it's going to be an evergreen program, because like just when you learn some, what we're going to put as we put out content, the space is going to evolve, and we're going to have more stuff so we can keep everybody up to date on it. Because the other thing that I see, so why DEFINITY FI, but why not just go somewhere else, is because you want to have a trusted source where you can actually learn the right stuff. Because I'm telling you, you're going to see some of the stuff that we're going to put in the content that's going to be in the courses, and you're like, I could find something similar on YouTube, not the same, but I do like to think that we give some added value. But at the same time, how do you know what to do, what not to do? Many people, especially on YouTube and people that put out video content, they're not looking to be right or wrong. They're looking for the best way to grab people's attention to get views so they can get paid for their views. And this is different because it doesn't matter how many people view it. Everybody that views ours is going to get good content, stuff that we vetted, which is also why we built a team to vet that. So that's why DEFINITY FI. That's why I think we're going to get it out there. And you're going to see, as you start talking about it, people are going to start asking, especially when they realize that, hey, you're involved, that you're at least invested a little bit in cryptocurrency. You're starting to learn about cryptocurrency. They're going to want to ask questions, which is why you see everywhere I go, usually I'm wearing a Bitcoin hat or Bitcoin shirt, because I see people all the time and they may not know crypto, but they'll see that and they'll ask about it. And then I get a chance to kind of share what we're doing. So as much as I love this hat and I wear this elsewhere, when I travel, I put on the Bitcoin one because that gets people asking. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build a massive community around this. And then being part of that community, you're going to be able to give us feedback on things that you want to learn about, things that you want to do, ask questions. So it's just a perfect model. We can create an intimate community where we can give the community what they want to learn and take advantage of this, but we can also grow this massively to where it's a global community. And the more diverse community gets, the better, the better input, the better results we're going to have.
Cool, man. What a great answer. Look, here's the thing, for myself, I consider myself a medium high risk taker when it comes to diversifying my own portfolio. And it's crazy because when I was very, very new, we call it aping in, right? It's like, oh, looks good. All right, I'm going to ape in, right? I'm just going to put 1,000 here, 5,000 here, 6,000. I was just talking to my wife. I was telling Van earlier, and she's like, what are you looking into? Oh, I'm looking at this project, and I'm going to put like X amount of money in. And I've said it so many times, she lose count, because there's so many different projects that you can diversify in. Now, there's all types of ways that you can earn rewards, right? I guess, there's active ways like trading, and then there is the passive way of earning rewards. Do you think that based on the education within the community, do you think that there's a possibility that someone can truly take what the educators and our community being able to actually rub shoulders with each other, traveling together, learning all the different strategies? Do you think that there could be a possibility that someone can actually get themselves out of the grid, outside of the matrix, and be able to actually carve out a freedom for themselves and have a lifestyle based on what is being taught within the community? Just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And that's mainly because there's so many different ways that cryptocurrency is going to revolutionize. It's not just a new way to pay where I can go in the store and pay with crypto. There's so many different financial tools and markets. And I mentioned, we talked about blockchain earlier, and just blockchain currency is only one application on the blockchain. There's so many different things that decentralized networks can do that are going to revolutionize multiple industries. So anybody can take advantage of that. And right now there's ways to earn passively, and nothing comes without risk. But we also talk about that risk, teach you about the risk, help you to better understand the risk, because it's not that people are scared to take risks. Everything you put money into is a risk, no matter what it is, whether it's a piece of property, whether it's gold, silver, crypto, or stocks. Everything is a risk. Nothing's guaranteed. But the more you understand that the better education you have, the better decisions you can make around what to put in, where to put it, and also how much to risk. Because you understand your risk level instead of, like Twan said, aping in. The thing about aping in is it's when people do it emotionally. They have that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and they just throw money at stuff because they heard it's hot and they heard it's the next thing. And I'll give you an example. Was it last year when Elon Musk was talking about Dogecoin all the time? And he still mentions it, but when it was leading up to his appearance on Saturday Night Live and everybody thought he was going to tell the world about Dogecoin, it went all the way up to 70 cents and it's at 10 cents now. It's not, Dogecoin is not a bad investment per se if you understand the risk behind it and how the project works. You made better decisions, but I knew at 70 cents that people were buying it at the top. So it's not that it's a lot of things. It's not that are good investments or bad investments. It's all about learning how to time the market and how to jump in, have a strategy and not trade with emotion or buy with emotion. Because those same people that buy with the FOMO, when the price starts crashing, they've already come in high. They sell it for a loss and just take a loss. When in some cases, if it's solid projects, I'm not saying that one is or isn't, but it'll come back. So you're able to make better decisions and you'll learn about the different ways to earn, and you can diversify. What do you want active? What do you want passive? Staking is a way you can earn money. Now, staking has multiple facets. One of them is there's certain blockchains that do what's called proof of stake. And you don't have to understand that yet. We're going to teach you that in the courses, but just know that you basically put up a stake of a certain amount of a coin or token to validate on that network. And as those network transactions happen, you share in a pool of the fees that are paid and also any new coins that are released each time a new block is made on the blockchain. It's staking. That's where staking comes in. So you can earn passively. I mean, Tezos alone, Tezos is a huge project and you can earn about 6% annually on Tezos on staking the XTZ coin. And that may not sound like a lot, but what's your average bank or savings account paying you? I guarantee you none of them are paying more than 0.5%. Most of them are like 0.1 or nothing. And
then you got to pay tax on that too.
Yeah. So
you don't make anything.
I'm not going to make any claims as far as taxes because, you never know. But actually, there was just a case where the IRS was trying to charge. This company took the IRS to court because the IRS was trying to say that the tokens that they earned from staking were taxable. And they actually took the IRS to court and they won against the IRS saying, no, it's not taxable yet. Earning that proof of stake from the network it wasn't a taxable event. It's not taxable until they sell it or trade it. And so they actually won that case. So you still have to get with an accountant to make sure you're legit. But that's just one example that we can, teach you. And also as those cases come out, we have a team. We're also evaluating court cases that are coming out because there's a lot of court cases that are going to have wide reaching implications on multiple different cryptocurrencies. So understanding how those laws and court cases impact the future, we can help pave the way. There's projects in 2017 that look great, but the way the technology has changed and some of the laws have changed, they ended up not being that great. So you also need to keep up with what's going on in the market. But if you do that, you can definitely learn how to put your money to work, earn passively. Some people want to trade. Some people don't want to trade. They want to stake or earn in DeFi. You can put your money to work in a market just like the banks do, but the banks don't pay you a cut. When you put money in a bank, they trade it on the market, on the global market, and they're making anywhere from 30 to 50% annually on your money. Easy, but they're not giving you a cut of that. But what happens with DeFi is everybody's participating. There's no middleman, AKA a bank holding your money. So whatever's made on that market by participating in the market, when you lend crypto into a DeFi protocol, someone else is borrowing it. So that allows you to earn passively on your income. So you can definitely put it to work.
Man, that's huge. Yeah, I know it's crazy. All the things you're talking about, DeFi and the staking and all those different facets or trading. The way I look at things is like being part of DEFINITY FI allows people to have opportunity to have active income because you want to get into DeFi, you want to start staking, you want to start doing play to earn games. Every single one of those projects require cryptocurrency. And the problem is that I think there's a huge gap between the mass market having access to cryptocurrency coming from active and then putting into something that's passive. And so for me, just what you're talking about, I'm like, wow, what an awesome concept is being able to take something that's an active income and being able to allow people, the average person, go in and say, hey, I'm part of this community. I have access to this academy. and produce an active income. And then at the same time, taking the active income and learn from the academy and do what you just talked about, staking, farming, and doing all these things that can produce a passive return, all while surrounding yourself with a global community and be able to learn how to diversify your portfolio. I mean, really, really exciting stuff. So, I've asked a ton of questions, and, I didn't even think about my partner, Ed. He's like sitting here, he's like listening. And I mean, I know you had some questions, right, Ed? But I figured I was on a roll, man. I was just gonna drill down some questions. But did you have some questions that you want to ask, Wayne?
Well, first of all, this is a real good information that people can take with them and know why, they can plan for the future to come to your events, Wayne. So can you just tell us why will people, want to, put on their calendar on the future events? You're planning 3 events already for 2022, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about those events?
Yeah, so there's one in Miami in a few weeks that is actually that one's in partnership with another company, which is founded. If you're familiar with Michael Turpin, he's one of the co-founders of Ethereum. Very big in the space. He was at our last event. He spoke at our last event. He was very impressed with what we're doing, and so he wanted to partner with us to kind of on the tail end. In a couple of weeks in Miami, there's an event called Bitcoin 2022, and they have that event every year, but they solely focus on Bitcoin, and they don't allow any other cryptocurrency projects there. It's what we call Bitcoin maximalist. Some people believe it's Bitcoin or nothing. There's other really good projects out there. So what we wanted to highlight was Blockchain 2022, where we can highlight some good projects, highlight what's happening. So that's a 2-day event after Bitcoin 2022, where we're going to be at the James L. Knight Center in Miami. And then in June, we're doing an event in Philadelphia. And then in October, we're doing one in Vegas. And those are going to be more our crypto experience style, where we have multiple rooms going on at the same time with breakout workshops where people can learn. But they're definitely going to want to come. Those events, you can watch them on a computer, but being there in person, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different thing. And that's really what I've done early on. I wanted to build my belief in the space and figure out if I was correct or if I was crazy like Twan thought I was. So I went to a lot of those events, talked to a lot of people. When you start seeing and talking to people and see some of the projects that are being built in the space, it really makes sense that, hey, some of these people are much smarter than me. And, they're putting this much money into infrastructure. This must be the future. It's not just a fad. So that's what you get from those events. You get networks. A lot of the connections I met at events in 2017, 2018 are now people that we're throwing events with now that are actually participating and speaking from stage and have built and launched, multiple successful projects in the space. So that's why people are going to want to come to that. They're going to come, and those are the 3 that we're doing this year. Obviously, as the next year opens up, this year was kind of a question mark. We didn't know what was going to happen with what's going on with travel in the world. So, and it was kind of gutsy to put, to say we're going to have 3 events, but in the future is going to be much more. And we're going to cater a lot of this also to the DEFINITY FI community, because wherever we see a need, we'll be able to address that, go to that, and have some in-person events. So we're going to give people, everything is a complement to something else. You'll be able to go online and go through on-demand courses. You better join live webinars like this, our Q&As, where you better ask questions and get different content, get access to different projects that we're vetting to share with the community early on. And then also you'll be able, as we pop up more and more, attends a lot of these in-person events where you can meet people, rub shoulders with people, learn from some great people in the industry. And that's when it's really all going to come together. The people that plug into, and many of you have built, networks in the past where those events are crucial for building belief. It's no different in any other industry, including cryptocurrency. You go to those events, you're going to build belief, and it happens a lot faster than if you don't go to them.
Great. So, there's a lot of things that you probably cannot say, Wayne, and Twan, you and I have discussed private, and people that they're celebrities that they want to come in, and be part of it, of the crypto. They want to get in. And matter of fact, this is not just one or two. I mean, there's a lot that there's people approaching to you guys that they want a partnership, and then there's a possibilities that those people are going to be, here in Vegas, probably in October, I see that it's going to be a big event here in Vegas. So yes, make sure you guys see the event for October, because I just believe DeFiniTY Academy is going to be on fire. It's going to be thousand people here in Vegas in October.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that. I can't really release any names because we're in talks with some partnerships right now, but I can just tell you from this. Now we can get any celebrity involved that maybe to come talk, and we can pay them to come talk. But the beauty of it is most of them we haven't had to pay a penny. And there's even a couple big names that don't want to, they gave us the option. We can either pay them to come and give a talk, or we can potentially make them equity partner, make them basically part of the company. And that's what we're looking to do with some of them, because we realize that helps bring more validity. The more people we can get this in front of, the better. And having that, but just look at what you've seen just in the news of celebrities that are getting involved. I mean, Twan mentioned Snoop Dogg. He's been removing all Death Row Records songs from streaming networks because he's going to launch them as NFTs. So you're going to want to learn what NFTs are and how to even acquire NFTs. NFTs give power back to the musician. And I don't know if you know this, but a lot of musicians that, except for the ones that were like super famous, some of the ones that just had decent hits, they didn't make as much money as you thought because of what they get their cut after all the record labels and everywhere else is paid. They didn't really get much, but NFTs give that ownership back to the musician, to the artist. So there's a lot of people, that are jumping into NFTs. Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of people know him. He's really big on not just driving awareness of non-fungible tokens, NFTs, but also the utility, how to use them, because they're not just a pretty picture on a digital picture you have in a digital wallet. There's actually use behind them. And you see sports athletes that are getting paid in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. I mean, look what happened. When Tom Brady set the new passing record this past year, and the receiver accidentally gave his ball away. Tom Brady gave that guy, I met that guy in Tampa actually a couple weeks later. Tom Brady gave that guy 1 Bitcoin to give the football back to him, because something Tom Brady wanted to hang on to. And there was some people saying he was crazy. The guy was crazy for doing that because he could easily got 200 to 500,000 for that ball in a few years. And those of us in crypto are like, well, probably get the same amount for Bitcoin in a couple of years as well. So, but athletes are involved. And all that does is not to bring hype and say, oh, look at this, look at that. That brings more validity to the space, because it's going to open up the eyes of a lot more people that were skeptical. Your brother-in-law or father-in-law or somebody that may have been skeptical of Bitcoin, but they're a big Tom Brady fan. Then they see Tom Brady is not only has an ownership stake in FTX, and he's getting paid in crypto, but he's giving away Bitcoin to get his football back. And then that's when it clicks into some people's mind. Okay, this is real. Lower the wall. They can learn about it.
There's a lot of celebrities. Look at LeBron James partnership with crypto.com. So the way I see it, when we were talking the other day, is like this favorite people. Matter of fact, the person we were talking about is my favorite singer, of all times. And when you said what you said the other day, I was like, wow, those possibilities here on October, on that event, man. I mean, this is DeFiniTY Academy just getting started right now. This is, matter of fact, the education is not even in the back office yet. So this is just the beginning of something that is going to be a giant. That's something that we going to leave a legacy on the crypto, on this industry. So I'm so excited. So Twan, if you don't have any other questions, I mean, we can see if anybody has any question, they can put it here on the chat. If not, I mean, you can come on and ask Blockchain Wayne any other questions, but I'm good. This was real good.
Yeah, this was fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I've been standing this entire time, because I got this whole little levitated little table here. I'm like, man, I'm pumped. I'm going to ask some questions here. So today was really good. I'm excited about it. And I don't think anyone has any questions, to be honest with you. I think today was really good. We're gonna have it recorded, of course. And but yeah, I think today was wonderful. The fact that we got a chance to really get to know you more, get to know the community, the educators, the talent that you're surrounded by, and the future of all the collaboration that we're gonna have. I truly believe that we're gonna be traveling the world together, and we're gonna talk about all types of ways that we can actually access and leverage the space of cryptocurrency, DeFi, NFTs, play to earn. And that's just the beginning. Right now there's a big talk behind metaverse, and we haven't even seen like them scratch the scratch of the scratch yet. I think right now they're discussing about it. We think we have it, but with Web 3.0, metaverse, all these things coming together with a combination NFT, there's going to be a lot of different huge financial opportunity for people. And I really think it's always about not what you know, but who you know. And the best thing to do is being part of a community where everybody that is inside that community is in the know. That's where you really get that nice opportunity, that nice ticket, of getting on the train. So that's really my excitement about it.
I got a little tidbit about metaverse real quick. And this is just in the news today. So when I started studying financial systems, and Tuan was talking about back in when I first got into crypto, and I was talking about inflation, before I really started focusing on educating, it was actually when you understand how money works and how the financial systems work, it should piss you off, because this is our children's future that's being stolen from the way the current financial systems are operating. And so, I think, banks are getting outdated. I'm actually recording this video. My wife's business is in a former Chase Bank building. So I'm actually in the old manager's office right now. Banks are going away. Banks are becoming obsolete. But just this week in the news, HSBC Bank has partnered with the Sandbox, which is a metaverse crypto company, and they basically bought a plot of land. They're going to develop a virtual bank within there. Now, I'm not a big fan of banks to begin with, but realize they're trying to stay relevant. But also, a lot of what started circulating right after that news came out was their last major headline that came out about them closing so many locations and laying off numerous people. Technology is shifting, and you see this is where the shift is going. So you're going to see what's happening there. Some shops like Samsung is actually closing a lot of their physical locations that were physical standalone Samsung locations, but they built a digital store in Decentraland's metaverse, and you can go in there and browse around. So the world's shifting, and you're going to learn how to participate in a lot of that. Yeah, what you got, Edgardo? I see he's got his hand up.
Yes, we have Clinton. I think, Clint, you want to ask him a question to Blockchain Wayne?
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, everybody. Wayne, phenomenal,
Excellent.
Absolutely phenomenal. And I want to make a statement and ask a quick question. The statement is from a marketing angle. Make sure, folks, that when this video is available, that you grab it, you hang on to it, and keep the link ready. Let me tell you why. I've already experienced this with a couple of our prospects on our team, and people say, well, that information is already out there. I can get that information anywhere. And one guy said, well, I checked into it and it's not that much information. I just want to make sure everybody understands this is unique. It's dynamic, it's ever changing. And the goal is to help us learn. And back when I was a broker, I'd tell people my job is to help you make money, and my job is to help you avoid losing money. Okay. So just keep this as one of your major tools in your toolbox. So when someone says that, don't argue with them. Just say, great, but watch this video, listen to Wayne, listen where it comes from his heart. My question then is, and I think I'm probably Captain Obvious here, but one of the things that we talk about fear of missing out, the other side is the greed portion. Mm-hmm. Within the training you're doing, probably at some of the higher levels, I assume that you're really going to be encouraging people to keep dry powder for those sell-offs and those corrections, maybe even using the fear and greed index, something like that.
Yeah.
Don't let at the bottoms, you know the drill. But I assume that's part of the curriculum.
Yeah, it is, because so many people think about it. When the people that are smart in the market, and you know this, I mean, you're a broker, so are the people that are buying whenever the market's panicking and crashing, but your everyday person is panicking, and teaching you how to flip that outlook is very important, to where I still use fear and greed as an indicator, like you mentioned. And there's actually a digital tool called the fear and greed indicator, but I use fear and greed, but I look at it opposite than you do before you understand how markets operate. And let's just go back historically. You think back to 2008, you know, when all the markets crashed. You know, this was prior to crypto, but stock markets crashed, real estate crashed, and the people that were panicking and selling at the time, thinking that everything was going to zero, didn't do so hot. But those that were buying when there was panic in the market and with the quote unquote blood in the streets, those are the ones that benefited. So that's what we teach you also, because, you know, it's almost like a reverse indicator. When the market's going down and you feel like a pit in your stomach, like, oh my God, when's it going to stop falling? That's really the time to buy. And whenever you're really happy, like you're on cloud nine because what you've done is going up so much, we also teach you how to recognize that greed to determine if you want to pull some off the table to be able to put more back in on the pullback. So yeah, great point, Clinton.
All right. Sounds good. Guys, that's a wrap. Very excited. It was a great AMA. I think that was very, very cool. We'll have this available for everybody, but Wayne, we appreciate your time. I think this was very fruitful for everybody, and we look forward to really diving in once the Academy starts rolling out very, very soon. Then we're going to make sure that we'll have all this. We can't wait for everyone to actually experience the content and really getting this community actually up and running. So with that, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the next event. Stay plugged in. Make sure you plug into all the social media outlets, and we'll see you guys at the next event.